Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Let's add today's video. It is sneak peek day number 2, and we're going to be ranking the 4 new hypercharges, which should be coming out with the update tomorrow, if the update lands tomorrow. So that is really cool, and we'll be testing that out. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and my second channel, because I'll be going through all of the hypercharges upon their release, and I'll be streaming as well. So a lot of content to go through. We're really grinding with this one, but let's just jump straight into it. So I'll be ranking all of these 4 new hypercharges on how strong I think they'll be, taking into consideration a lot of things. Before we jump into it though, I just want to briefly talk about the Hypercharge stat changes. So if you guys are unaware, Hypercharges have been changed in terms of their overall stats, which is really nice. I've been asking for this change for literally years since their introduction, and I'm glad they finally listened. So it's going to be a 5% attack, 5% shield, and 20% movement. So I'd have actually liked a 15%, maybe 10% movement speed, but I'll take it at this point. I will take it because 5% attack and shield shouldn't really change that many interactions. It will change a few, definitely, but 5%, that's pitiful, especially in comparison to what it used to be before. 20%, 25% boost. That was just way too strong. So the reason why they've done this is because Hypercharges provided slightly too much value, which I think they're underplaying that way too much value, especially with some of the broken ones. But they also just wanted to make the game less frustrating, i.e. because most hypercharges were just a purple button and you'd get a kill, and they wanted to address this before the World Finals approach, and they did say their data shows a healthy meta, even though in gameplay wise it clearly wasn't, but yeah, data wise it wasn't too bad. You could still play a lot of brawlers, but they did say, interestingly enough, they want to make star powers and gadgets relevant rather than just hypercharge equals win gameplay. So maybe we're going to get some star power and gadget adjustments later in the future, I'm hoping for, because a lot of really terrible gadgets and star powers. But now finally I'm hoping that it's not just purple button win gameplay. I'm hoping they keep to their word here and it's actually fire. So now let's take a look at all of the hypercharges that are coming out with the update at number 4 in terms of how strong I think they're going to be. I've actually gone with Ali's. So I think before these hypercharge stat nerfs, I think this Ali hypercharge would have been pretty broken because additional damage, additional shield, it would have been really hard for you to kill an Ali. But now with this stat changes, it doesn't actually feel that powerful. I know I'm playing against bots, but yeah. So what Ali's hypercharge does, it's called Swamp Snacking it. So this makes it so you deal 25% of enemies maximum health, which in comparison I think it's to their active health. So you know you're going to get value no matter what when you go into your super. So it's still a really good hypercharge, and you also heal 20% of the damage dealt. So pretty good. Most of the time you will be probably healing. I mean, for that first shot you will heal a considerable amount, but with every other shot after your first one, after using super, it'll probably be around like 700 healing, which is still okay. At least she's actually getting some healing. So the reason why I put this hypercharge so low is because it takes 4 supers to get. 4 supers to get is pretty much confirming. Yeah, it's probably a pretty strong hypercharge, but it's going to be impossible to get. It's going to take a long time for you to get this. You might be able to get 1 inside of a game, but will you be able to get, you know, multiple kills with this hypercharge? I don't really know, because Ali's reload speed is so incredibly slow. So you're probably going to dominate in 1 kill. But outside of that, making a good hypercharge is normally one that you can get double kills with, triple kills with ease. And I can see, again, you're definitely making some good plays, and you're definitely going to win matchups where you probably wouldn't have before this hypercharge, but you're just probably going to make one of those plays a game. So I'm not complaining, because I really was scared of this hypercharge, and still am. I think good AD players are still going to feast on this hypercharge. I just don't think it's going to be anywhere close to one of the best hypercharges in the game, mainly because of the supercharge rate. So I'm excited to try it out. I think Ali as a brawler is underrated, but the hypercharge, I don't think it's that good. So now jumping into the third best new hypercharge with the update, it is Pam's hypercharge. So with Pam's hypercharge, it's called Mama's Love, and your turret heals on deploy. So like, think of it as a Poco super essentially, which is actually pretty good value. Of course, you want to be trying to place this behind the wall still, not just throwing it out in the open. And whenever you're inside of your turret, it will give you a shield, which only works when you're maximum health, but it will constantly heal up until like 6,000. So you get 6,000 extra shield on top of, you know, Pam's basically 10k health. So that is a lot of shield and a lot of tanking. This is just constantly going to be regenerating, and it can go to you and your teammates as well. So it does decay pretty quickly, but I think in a game mode like Hot Zone, it's going to be essential, especially against those low DPS brawlers. I think it's going to be so good. So this Hypercharge only takes 2.5 supers to charge up as well, which is pretty good. So Pam as a standalone brawler isn't in the best of spots, but I really do think Pam will have a niche inside of Gem Grab and inside of Hot Zone. She already was kind of usable in Hot Zone. I'd see the odd time in pro play, but now I really think she'll be one of the best Hot Zone brawlers, because you can literally on Jordan Beetles or a few different maps just place that Hypercharge turret behind a wall and just sit on it. Because you think about it as well, she received a buff to her super turret health, which again gonna make it even tankier. I think it was like 7k health with his Hypercharge super, which is just a considerable amount. It's gonna take a long time for people to destroy it, and only Ray throwers can take advantage and take it down pretty quickly. So I think this will be a pretty decent Hypercharge. I don't think it's gonna like catapult Pam to one of the best brawlers inside of the game, but it will make her a viable option again. I really do think that. I think this will be a Hypercharge worth buying, because Pam, without it, will just feel lackluster because she hasn't really received any meaningful reworks or buffs. But now with a Hypercharge, she will have she'll be a lot harder to kill, especially if you slap on the mythic gear on top of this. It will just be a pain to try and take down Pam now. So I like it. Maybe it might be too toxic. Imagine like brawlers like Stu or a couple of other low DPS brawlers that Pam already countered. She's going to be able to absolutely hard counter them now. So I'm liking it. I feel like we've been needing a Pam meta for a while. Now jumping into the second best Hypercharge coming with the update, it's going to be Ziggy's Hypercharge called the Grand Vortex. So I believe if Ziggy was buffed as a brawler, guys, this would be the best Hypercharge out of all of them. But I'm taking into consideration that his main attack is actually pretty hard to hit. So that means it's going to be harder to build up his Hypercharge. Does that make sense? I think I'm just trying to incorporate everything. Anyways, his Hypercharge will return to Ziggy upon reaching maximum distance or lifetime. So it's just going to be double the duration. And that's very toxic. His super is pretty good. I think I overestimated a little bit just how strong it was, but it's still a good super, especially for zoning. But now that it's doubled, I can come back to you. Wow, this is going to be a really good Hypercharge. Just think of a couple of Hot Zone maps. You're just going to zone them so easily, and if you have the slow stop power on top of this, they're going to be slowed for a long time. You're just going to be able to cycle through supers a lot easier. But the problem is charging that Hypercharge, which will be a big issue in this meta. So it takes 2.6 supers to charge up. So that's not too bad. That is about just below, like, I think it's 13 shots. It takes 5 shots to build up a super with Ziggy. So again, bear in mind that against really mobile brawlers, really fast brawlers, Ziggy, it's impossible to hit them with Ziggy. It's like Grom essentially. But if you do have a pretty favorable matchup, you're thinking of like a last pick inside of ranked, I think this Hypercharge will completely dominate. It's a very, very good Hypercharge. So just bear that in mind. I think in terms of mechanics as well, like, it's not going to get you like complete team wipes, but it's going to push your opponents all the way back to spawn. It's going to take control of the map for so long. And if you guys know, control in pro play is very, very important. So I think this could be an insane Hypercharge. Definitely worthwhile buying. I'm moving into the best Hypercharge coming with the update. I think it's hands down Mina's Hypercharge. So just on the topic of Mina, I don't think I actually mentioned it in yesterday's video, but I don't think she was actually nerfed nowhere near the amount that she should have. She's still going to be an S-tier brawler in the meta, even without this Hypercharge. And on top of this Hypercharge, yeah, she's still going to be probably the best brawler inside of the game. Let's just face the facts right now. So this Hypercharge super looks really good. It's not anything like stupid broken, but it looks very strong. So with this Hypercharge, she will now fire 3 hurricanes in a cone shape, and they can bounce, which is just absolutely absurd to me. So I get the feeling that you can probably get some disgusting damage, especially in like a confined area. With his Hypercharge, it's going to be able to bounce and deal double the damage, I believe, which is just absolutely insane. A lot of knockbacks, and in terms of crowd control, this is going to be absolutely insane. So not only is Mina an assassin, she's a damage dealer, and she's probably a controller with the amount of hurricanes that you can fly out. The biggest downside is that it takes 3.3 supers to build up, but as you guys know, it shouldn't really be a problem with Mina. You probably will cycle like a couple of Hypercharges in the game. It's not like a stupidly fast Hypercharge rate, and especially since the Supercharge rate nerf that she's going to receive as well, it will take a little bit more time. But if you have the second gadget, which gives you an instant super back, I just think a good Mina player will be able to successfully cycle through to Hypercharge pretty fast. And it's Mina, right? She's got such high mobility. So I just think with Mina being such an easy brawler to hit shots with, such a strong brawler in the meta, and a Hypercharge which is like impossible to miss, the fact that it bounces as well, yeah, you're not going to be able to miss this. You're going to be knocking back people like crazy. I just think she's going to be so powerful and so hard. If anything, she might even be better than pre-nerf because of this Hypercharge. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section below. what you think of these Hypercharges. I thought I'll just focus on the Hypercharges in today's sneak peek. If you guys want to see any skins or anything to do with the event, I highly recommend, you know, watching one of the other YouTubers, but I primarily focus on the competitive content, the Hypercharges, the balance changes, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that type of content. But like I said, please check out my second channel and my daily streams around 6 GMT now. My time zone has changed, so it might be an hour later for you guys, but yeah, make sure to check it out, guys. That's going to be it. Hopefully the update is tomorrow. I'll be there straight away for you guys, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.